Hey, everybody, and welcome back to our Behind Her Brand Monday Morning Brew. I actually had my brew right before today. I had a really some quiet time with my husband, and so I drank a lot of coffee, and we had a really good discussion, and it led me to something I wanted to share with you all today. Over the last, I would say, year or so, I have been in such a big season of transition personally, spiritually, physically, mentally, everything in between. I have been in a lot of transition. And something that I've realized is that a lot of times when we're all in transition, it seems like we're losing a lot. And a lot of times you are losing things. You might lose opportunities that you thought you really wanted. You might lose relationships that you thought, oh my gosh, this was a relationship that I thought was going to last for a lifetime. You might lose different perspectives, thoughts, patterns, whatever it might be. When you're in transition, you are going to lose something. And it reminds me of what the scripture says, how old things pass away. God makes room for new things to come because old things need to pass away. And I remember feeling so upset every time there was a loss, so hurt every time. I'm like, man, that was an amazing relationship. And a lot of relationships ending is not because of bad things. Sometimes it's just the season. And what it made me think about is that oftentimes when we are in transition, instead of looking at everything that we're losing as a loss, look at it as this is just the timing of this season of my life. Every loss isn't a negative thing. Whenever you have something move away, oftentimes new things come into play. But what I find so often is we get stuck on the loss. We get stuck on what we feel like we're losing. We get stuck in thinking that there's something wrong with us because we're losing relationships or friendships or opportunities or doors that we thought were wanting to be open. We start interpreting it as something negative against ourselves. And what happens, just in general, I'm not saying it happens to everyone, it can make you self-sabotage if you think every time you're growing, going forward, and it's like you interpret the loss, the changing seasons, the changing dynamics, the changing relationships. If you're fearful of those different changing cycles, you can find yourself saying, no, I am not going to do this. Nope, I'm going to stay here. This is where it's comfortable. This is what I know. This is what feels good. And even though when we stay right here, that means we're not growing. We're not moving forward. We're not doing anything productive when you stay still and you're not growing. And so I've learned over the course, especially this year, that I embrace changing seasons. I embrace transitional moments. I embrace that, you know what, this relationship was amazing, but in this season where I'm going, it's just not a relationship that I'm going to be able to maintain. Or sometimes a person makes a decision to say, you know what, you're going in this direction, I'm going in this direction. It's not always a negative thing. Every door that's closed is not a negative door, and it's not a bad thing. Sometimes the things that need to be removed or shifted or cast away, cut off, however you want to describe it, is necessary for our growth. I think the biggest thing is that we have to remember that if we're expecting blessings and things to flow to us, we can't hoard old things. We can't hoard old mindsets. We can't hoard old beliefs. We can't hoard things that make us comfortable. We have to be open to make room for the things that God has for us. And I wrote this down here. I'm going to read real quick. Is oftentimes whenever we're afraid to move, especially when things are changing around us and moving into the new things, what tends to happen also is that we settle. We settle back into the things that honestly keep us stagnant, that keep us comfortable, that keep us in a non-growing movement. And one of the things I said is that we don't have to settle for anything. We don't have to fill in the gaps with relationships that we know are outdated. We don't have to fill in the gaps with opportunities that we know really and truly are opportunities. We don't have to fill in the gaps with things, resources, time, whatever devices might be, just so that we can fill in the gaps of things that we know are out of season. It's time to transition in. We're filling in that gap because we're afraid of the unknown. You don't have to settle for anything less than what you know that you really and truly deserve. And I find that we tend to settle whenever we are in periods of transition or change or things that make it feel uncomfortable or scary. So I want to encourage you today that if you're in a pattern that everything's being shaken up, when those pieces fall back, they fall back where they're supposed to be in that season, in that time that you're in. And I have learned that. I embrace changing seasons. I'm not saying I always like them. I'm not saying that. I'm going to be real. But I do embrace them differently. I do embrace that I need to be open I can't ask God to expand my territory and then try to hoard my territory. I can't ask God to use me in the ways that He wants to use me and then say, no, God, you can use me over here, but I need to keep this over here too. I can't ask that from Him and expect Him to freely move in my life if I'm trying to control the pieces of my life. Right. So I just want to encourage you that if you're in a transitional season, if you are losing what you feel like, man, I'm losing so much right now, just look at it differently and just say, you know what? It's time for those things to go. It's time for those things to end. It's the season for this to happen because things are being made room for me to step into some new things, some new opportunities, some new doors, some new relationships. Space is being opened up for new things in my life. So embrace that versus resisting it. Okay. So I just wanted to encourage you all today. And I would love to hear from you. And when you are in seasons of change, where things seem to be kind of shaken up and you're like, oh my gosh, like, I did not want to lose this, that, the other. What do you do? How do you embrace changing seasons? How do you embrace those moments where sometimes it can feel a little scary when you're stepping into unknown seasons of your life and you don't know the blueprint, you don't know each step, you don't know every detail? What do you do in those moments? I would love to hear your feedback on that. You guys have a great rest of your week, and I can't wait to see the comments below because this is one area that I know that many, many people, I'm not going to use the word struggle with, but they face transitional seasons and loss. How do you handle it, and how do you get through it? All right. I'll talk to you all soon. Have a great rest of your day and rest of your week.